Ben goes to the hospital to meet her and finds a Church of the Returned card on the floor. He registers that Sanvi is in trouble and quickly goes to the returned church. Adrian welcomes him as a priest and starts blabbering about their purpose in the world. Ben knows that the guy is trying to scam people but can do nothing about it. He finds Alice's address on a notice board and quickly makes his way to her house. Meanwhile, Sanvi locks herself in a room with Alice's husband and tells him that she doesn't know how to save him. The man understands her concerns and is against his wife. At home, Zeke meets Cal, who is tired of getting so many callings. He thinks the pictures he draws come true and hurt people, which is why he refuses to tell anyone about his recent visions. Zeke befriends the kid and makes him understand that he just sees things before they happen and has no control over the future. Then, at the police station, Michaela's boss informs her of a utility vehicle that was robbed. The criminals drove it into the river where it has been stuck for the past 3 days. People are trying their best to pull it out, but some policemen have to be on the site 24/7 to avoid civilians interfering. Michaela agrees to take the night shift while Jared does the day. Lourdes comes to meet Michaela during lunchtime. She has sensed Jared is pulling away from her in the past few days. She asks Michaela if something is going on between them. Michaela tries to lie but knows that Lourdes deserves to know the truth. Upon discovering that her husband is cheating on her, she is devastated. She refuses to listen to Michaela and storms away. Sanvi is trapped in Alice's home with a gun pointed at her. Alice is losing her patience with every second. Her husband tries to calm her down, but she doesn't listen to anyone. Outside, Michaela and Ben arrive in front of the house and see Sanvi through the window. Ben pretends to be a cult member and tricks Alice into letting him in. Behind him, Michaela also joins them and finally holds Alice down. She is arrested, but Sanvi is traumatized after the incident. After that, Ben goes to Adrian to ask him to stop the Church of the Returned. Adrian instead retaliates that the passengers are the answer to all problems in the world. He knows that he doesn't actually believe it, but since his followers do, it is more than enough. Ben also figures out that he is a con artist but can do nothing to stop him. At night, Michaela goes to Jared's home and finds out that Lourdes has left him. He feels bad for her but believes that it was meant to happen. This is the only way he and Michaela can be together without any more lies. Michaela says that she loves him as much as he does, but Lourdes is her best friend. Since she just walked out, they cannot go behind her back and start dating instantly. At home, Cal draws another calling. This time it is a picture of a wolf leaping at Michaela. Meanwhile, Michaela is witnessing a vehicle being pulled out of the river after about 80 hours of being stuck underwater. People are expecting a decomposed corpse, but as soon as the door opens, a living man leaps at Michaela. The calling yet again comes true and shocks Ben and his family, but a question arises. How can a man be alive after being underwater for more than 3 days? The man is a burglar and a murderer named Griffin. A flashback shows us that he, alongside his friend, had robbed a bank and killed 3 men right before they drove into the river. Hence, he is sure to be convicted now that he has been found alive. Ben watches the news and theorizes that the man returned from the dead like Zeke, and the passengers did. Michaela meets Jared in the hospital and tells him about Zeke. He is annoyed that she didn't tell him about a stranger living in her apartment. Since Lourdes left him, he has been overly protective of Michaela and thinks that they will get back together sooner or later. Sanvi also comes to take a look at the newly resurrected man. She discovers he had been underwater for exactly 82 hours and 8 minutes, which relates to Flight 828. Michaela doesn't know what it means, but it is clear that he is somehow connected to them. Suddenly, Griffin wakes up and starts screaming that they are all going to die. He's experiencing a calling for the first time and is panicking since he doesn't know what it means. Before Michaela can ask him what he is seeing, he is sedated and knocked out for the next few hours. While they wait for him to wake up, Jared approaches Zeke and starts interrogating him. He clearly doesn't like the guy and his friendship with Michaela. A while later, Griffin wakes up and Michaela talks to him. She finds out that the calling he got was about a deadly bombing that is about to happen in New York City. Michaela tells him everything about the callings and asks for his help to stop the bombing. However, unlike the rest of the people who have returned, Griffin is not a good person. He wants to use the information about the bombing to get out of being convicted for murder and robbery. Michaela tries explaining that this is not a matter of argument because many people's lives are in danger, but Griffin remains adamant. The police also have been tipped off about a terrorist attack tonight. Upon finding out that Griffin knows about it, they are willing to provide him full immunity in turn for the information. Ben starts looking for more information on Griffin. Michaela plans to use them to manipulate him into helping the police. Olive helps Ben and finds out that Griffin had a brother-like friend who died in a robbery they did together. Both of them used to live with the same foster parents, who might be able to give them more insight into Griffin. Ben sends Grace to meet the foster mother outside her home. The woman has no idea that he was alive as he ran away from home when he was 19. She saw him after several years yesterday on TV and knows nothing about him. However, she gives them a picture of Griffin and his late friend, which might help the case. After that, Michaela interrogates Griffin one more time and asks him how his best friend died. She has discovered that Griffin killed a man and put the blame on his friend, which caused his death later on. Griffin regrets doing it, but even the most vulnerable incident of his life doesn't break him. Eventually, the U.S. attorney signs off and sets Griffin free. He is a danger to society, but they at least know where the bombings are going to take place. In the meantime, Zeke goes to a house and tries to break inside. He is caught in the act and arrested, much to Jared's delight. He tries to paint Zeke as a thief in front of Michaela, but she knows the man better than that. When the two are alone, he reveals that the house belongs to his mother. He missed her but didn't want to intrude, so he decided to break into her house and see what situation she is in. He knows it was a stupid move, but begs that his intentions weren't wrong. Michaela trusts him and lets him free even though Jared disapproves. Hence, when no one is looking, he picks up Zeke's cup from the bin, hoping to find something out of it. Meanwhile, Sanvi has been paranoid since she was held at gunpoint earlier. She is startled by little things and afraid of her life. A fellow colleague, Dr. Matthews, suggests she see a therapist, but Sanvi insists that she is doing just fine. An hour later, all the bombs in the city are deactivated, which saves hundreds of lives. Because of Griffin's contribution, he turns into a hero overnight. However, Michaela sees a wolf growling at her from the crowd, which means the danger hasn't passed yet. Suddenly, something happens to Cal and he starts throwing things around. He breaks his school art project that he worked on all night yesterday. When confronted by his parents, he claims that something is about to happen, but he can only tell Zeke about it. Zeke, on the other hand, is at a store buying liquor. He used to be an alcoholic, but has told Michaela that he is sober currently. Things are not looking good for him because Jared has run an identity check on him and discovered that he has been arrested for assault before. He tells Michaela about it, but she in turn gets mad at him for stealing Zeke's prints off a cup. Right then, Griffin walks out of the police station in his new suit. He cockily tells Michaela that he is now a hero for the people of New York. As he leaves, she gets a calling asking her to stop him. The same thing happens to Ben and Zeke as well. Later that day, Michaela returns home and Zeke hides the bottle of alcohol. He also reveals that he went to see his mom again, but she didn't let him in. He is hurt because even after everything that happened, he is still a screw-up in her point of view. Michaela feels bad for him, but she has to ask him about the assault charges. Zeke doesn't hesitate before revealing he got into a fight with a man who was troubling his friends at a club. He only started it because he was drunk and regrets it to this day. In the end, Michaela and Zeke hug and solve the confusion. In the hospital, another doctor finds out about the strange protein that was found in Cal's blood. Recently, he found the same protein in Griffin's blood too, which has sparked a rumor about them being alike. Sanvi is quick to shut the door, saying that it is probably a mistake in the test. However, she knows that she cannot keep it a secret for a long time. Suddenly, she starts to hyperventilate and has to stop and take deep breaths before calming down. Dr. Matthews witnesses this and gives her the business card of a therapist. Somewhere else, Zeke goes to meet Cal and asks him what he wanted to say. Cal makes him promise that he will keep this a secret and shows him his most recent sketch. It shows graves of himself, Ben, and Michaela. According to the calling, the three are going to die. Zeke tells his parents that the kid is just shaken by different things happening to him. Right then, a news channel broadcasts that Griffin is about to appear in an interview. The family is scared that he will tell people about the callings and they will come after them for answers. The interview will put Cal at risk, and Ben wants to stop it at any cost. Jared has put his man behind Zeke to keep an eye on him. He witnesses the guy buying something from a sketchy place that day. Jared sees a picture of him doing so and suspects that he consumes drugs. But in reality, Zeke was buying a gun. He is willing to kill Griffin before he goes on TV and risks Cal's life. The next day is the day of the interview. A large crowd is gathered to cheer for Griffin as he walks past them like a celebrity. Zeke is ready to shoot him, but before he can, Griffin vomits gallons of water and dies instantly. It is almost as if he is drowning. Later that day, Sanvi confirms that he did in fact drown. The effect of being underwater for 3 days affected him only after 3 days of coming out. It is a strange phenomenon, but at this point they are used to it. Later, Michaela goes to Zeke's mother and introduces herself. The woman thinks that Zeke lied about being trapped in a cave because he was on drugs. Michaela clears things up, making her believe that her son has traveled through time like Flight 828. His mother cries and silently apologizes to him. Ben does more digging into the time of Griffin's death and discovers that he died after 82 hours and 80 minutes of being resurrected. This means he lived for the exact time he was missing and died as he was supposed to. If this is true for everyone else, the passengers will also die 5.5 years after the plane landed. The date lands on June 2nd, 2024. Cal confirms this by showing them the sketch he made that now has dates on the tombstones. The family doesn't know how to react. Olive and Grace cannot lose their loved ones for the second time, but can do nothing to stop the inevitable. Moreover, Grace reveals that she is pregnant. Ben is overjoyed, but it turns out that she doesn't know if the baby is Danny's or his. Somewhere else, Sanvi goes to her new therapist, who happens to be the mayor. She is posed as someone Sanvi can trust to get direct insights on the passengers and their powers. In Michaela's apartment, Jared barges in and starts looking for drugs that he thinks Zeke hid somewhere. The men get into an argument when Zeke retaliates. At the same time, Michaela is climbing up the stairs when she hears a calling asking her to stop someone. She runs to her apartment just in time to hear a gunshot. Then the screen goes black, leaving the audience wondering who got shot. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on the notification and leave a like to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.